chain drug review and mass market retailers video forum. Brought to you by the Emerson Group.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeffrey Wolt, Editor-in-Chief of Retail Media IQ. Welcome to a special edition of our video forum. We're here at the Future of Commerce Initiative in Boston, visiting with some of the leaders at CVS. Today we're thrilled to have Parbinder Dhariwal, Vice President and General Manager of the CVS Media Exchange with us. Parb's, always great to see you.
Hey Jeff, how are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
Let's just begin with a little bit about CMX. What is it, 5 or 6 years old at this point?
Coming up to our 5th anniversary, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So August of 2025 will be our 5 years. So it's been quite the ride, right?
Okay.
It's been quite the journey.
Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I think in our initial inception of, when we initially started at CMX, CVS Media Exchange, out in, 5 years ago, we didn't really know and understand what this was going to become. I think the belief and certainly the vision at that particular point was, how do we think about leveraging all of that extra care data? How do we think about leveraging the signals that we're getting across the entire store footprint, and then pushing that to really drive, whether it's velocity from a consumer perspective or discoverability from a consumer standpoint, and bringing them back into our store environments. And the business has really evolved, right, over that time. I've been with the organization for coming up to 3 years, and we've gone from a place of not really known that we had a retail media network to now becoming a real known entity within the retail media space, and known because of the work that we are doing in order to drive innovation in the marketplace, whether it's new partnerships that we're announcing, or the measurement, transparency conversation that we want to have with the entire industry and our partners, or so on and so forth. But it's just the evolution has come along, and really proud of the work that the team is doing and continues to do to set us at the forefront of the industry.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about what CMX does for its various constituents. The consumer you mentioned, obviously your CPG partners, and also CVS itself.
Yeah, of course. And I think all of those three things are really important. If you put just really the consumer at the center of everything, if we start from the center out, the consumer and being able to deliver personalized one-to-one messages to those consumers based on their preferences, based on their buying behavior, based on the predictive nature of understanding their shopping behavior within the CVS ecosystem, that is of our prior importance. And we're really now today in a generation where consumers expect that. Whilst they see advertising message, they expect that it's personalized. And when it's not personalized, they ask the question as to well, hold on, why is that not personalized? And we're in that generation now. And that one-to-one communication and the way in which we can do that through extra care en masse at scale gives us the ability to really understand the consumer right the way through our omnichannel, through the digital experience as well as the physical experience. The outside of that, in sort of answer to your question, there's sort of 3 legs to the stool. We think about those 3 legs as the CPGs. We think of that legs as the merchant organization and what we do for the merchant organization. And then there's CMX. So how do we get the flywheel moving across the CPG brands, understanding their needs? How can we help them drive, whether it's category growth or new product launches or discoverability or new to brand buyers, whatever the metric is, how do we drive that? And we have all of the tools at our disposal to do that. From a merchant perspective, it's how do we, again, drive more velocity within our stores? How do we drive that level of discoverability of our consumers? How do we help the categories grow for all of the merchants right the way up and down the chain? And I would add sort of, in that mix, how do we think about, the front store marketing connection as well? And we do tent poles that really brings us together. And then there's the CMX piece, right? The CMX piece is we are serving the CPGs and we are serving the merchant organization, but ultimately we are all serving the consumer. So the role that CMX plays on that third leg of the stool is really bringing all of those constituents together and connecting them. And that's actually the really exciting piece around retail media, because we've seen all of these different assets within retail as a whole. Connecting and bringing those assets together to serve the best needs of the consumer has been paramount to our success.
And so is it fair to characterize CMX as an extension of Extra Care?
I wouldn't say it's an extension to Extra Care. I think it's a utilization of the loyalty program at Extra Care as a whole to best serve our consumers. We're very robust in the insights that we can provide and the campaign level data that we can provide. And if that means that it's just simply, a ROAS that the merchants or the CPG partners are looking for, we can do that. If it's incrementality, if it's new to brand buyers, if it's lapsed purchasers, if it's different segments and the way in which they're purchasing, we can look at that not just across different audiences, but different channels and how all of those channels are performing. We can also look at that across the entire omnichannel. So the infrastructure that we have built enables us to identify consumers, how they're behaving on a channel, audiences are behaving on a channel, and how they are behaving across the CVS ecosystem in order to drive whatever KPI is relevant to those CPGs.
You mentioned innovations. Can you tell me a little bit about some of your recent moves?
Yeah, innovations for us comes in many different formats, whether it's some level of co-creation and working together with our partners in the industry. So, we were in Cannes recently. We announced a Reddit partnership that brings us together and closer to actually get involved in communities on Reddit and be part of the health and wellness conversation. So, how do we bring those kinds of real sort of co-creation of our audience set and the Extra Care audience set that shops at CVS and engaging with that audience set on platforms outside of CVS, because that's where consumers are. Other innovations, we're really looking at the in-store as a way that we can drive an enormous amount of innovation. It's where the vast majority of our traffic is. It provides a real convenience and location to communities in and around the US. How do we bring that store to life to deliver message when the consumers are actually in our environments and ready to purchase? So screen technology is something that we've been investing in pretty heavily, whether that's screens at the waiting area or the trend caps, or we're going to be in the process of putting some front door screens in by the end of the year. We're looking at our POSs and how we bring those to life. So there's different ways in which we're thinking about our store environment to really help drive much more connectivity with brands within our environments when the customer's at the point of purchase. So innovations are consistent. And then the third thing that we're really looking at is just how do we continue to enhance and build our overall capabilities from understanding our audiences. So what's the level of technology that we want to layer on top of that? How do we think about bringing those audiences to life, targetability, in-flight optimization? So just more campaign workflow that gives a level of automation to the way in which we're thinking about the business as a whole. So.
Parbs, what gives CMX an edge over competitors? Lots and lots of retailers now have retail media networks. Why, if I'm a supplier, would I want to come to CVS as opposed to one of your competitors?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the right question where we need to be. I often talk about this, which is not all retail is created equal, and not all retail media is created equal. CVS has very different use cases within retail than for the consumer and the purchase and buying behavior of the consumer versus other retail. And when it comes to retail media specifically, there's different ways in which retail media is communicating with their constituents, with their consumers. The biggest differentiator and advantage that we have versus the market is our loyalty program. Extra Care is 90 million addressable. We have a very, very high swipe rate. We understand the consumer both from an in-store perspective as well as a digital perspective. We understand everything that they're purchasing from their health and wellness needs. There are very few retail media networks who have the same scale as Extra Care and CMX, and the level of reach within the health and wellness category. Mm-hmm. That is a very, very clear differentiator. That puts us as a leader within this particular space, and that's the area that we're looking to dominate, which is how do we continue to drive forward into that category. So it's our data, it's our asset, it's the way in which we use that asset, and I talk about that as an asset every single day, because it's really, really important that we continue to bring that asset to life and provide a better service for all of the things that we talked about: consumer at the center, the CPG brands that we're working with, the merchant organization, the front store marketing team, and more broadly, CMX and the enterprise.
Final question for you. What's next for CMX? What are you going to do to elevate your standards even further than they already are?
I think, look, we're going to continue to lean into transparency. Transparency is a real key item for us. That resonates right the way down through the enterprise and the organization, so we're really bolting ourselves to that. We're looking at technology and what does technology really bring to the conversation, and the ways in which we can use a lot of the tooling that's available to us, so we will continue to step. And then you're going to start to hear more around the co-creation path, because of the work that we've done in order to cleanse and create a hygienic data set that we can utilize now in market to build partnerships. And that's why the Reddit partnership was the first of its kind, and not only provides us conversations that we can enter into within those communities with Redditors, but it also provides us an end-to-end attribution model that has never been done before, right, with Reddit. So these are the kind of partnerships that we're looking at. The enablement of that is really the work that we've already done and been building as a foundational layer for the last 5 years. So
when will Reddit users see the impact of your partnership?
We'll go live in Q4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So you'll have to come back and tell us how that goes.
I will do. Thanks so much, Dave.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Always good to talk to you.
Thanks.